Jiro here for Umbra Games with a review of Mighty No. 9, played on PlayStation 4, but also available on PS3, Vita, Xbox 360, and the One, Wii U, and PC. Mighty No. 9 came from a Kickstarter by Keiji Inafune, the creator of Mega Man, and his company Comcept. The campaign raised $4 million, and the promise that a Mega Man spiritual successor would be developed and released on what was originally promised to be 10 different platforms. The game released against middle to low reviews, with a lot of backers complaining they didn't receive the benefits promised to them, and kind of just generated a giant mess of a popped hype balloon. I remember watching some trailers for it and thinking it looked alright, being a pretty big fan of the original NES Mega Man games myself, but didn't see anything to get too hyped about personally. So a recent visit from my buddy White Gravy, we got into a controller passing session of the game, just simply hoping for something in the vein of the NES and SNES Mega Man era, and not much else in the way of expectations. Mighty No. 9 is another name for our protagonist Beck. He's one of the few androids whose behavior is not disrupted by a recent uprising, and therefore is tasked with shutting down the upheaval. Each level you choose from the stage select is a themed area where you take down one of the other mighty numbers 1 through 8. In traditional Mega Man manner, as Beck defeats the enemy bosses, he absorbs the unique ability and can use it as his own. Each of the bosses has a weakness to one of the other's powers, some obvious and some not, making a sort of 8-way paper, rock, scissor game. Instead of destroying the robot bosses though, like Mega Man always did, Beck frees them from their bad programming, where they can later lend a hand if you go to the Mighty Number stage, to which they are the weakness. You know, it's actually kind of strange and inconsistent though, the way that some of the boss weapons just completely obliterate an enemy, doing massive amounts of damage with just one full weapon bar. In others, we went back to the basic shot because it was just simpler and easier. And on top of that, I really hope it's not for added difficulty, but the dialogue bubbles that pop up during intense platforming areas, or as the boss is halfway dead, can completely block your objective or obscure the telegraph of the move the boss is getting ready to perform. This is really bad design. I usually try not to create these reviews as a full comparison to another game because, especially with Mega Man, there's quite a bit of a generational gap, so not all viewers may be familiar with that core series. But, knowing that's what Comcept was going for here, it's difficult not to make those comparisons. Beck can jump, shoot, and perform a dash. The game is very platforming heavy, and at moments painstakingly so, with the one-hit purple electricity there to catch Beck from making mistakes. The dash can be used multiple times in a row at descending heights as Beck falls though, really giving quite a bit of controlling freedom. As Beck shoots enemies, they'll enter a pixelized state where he can then use the dash to absorb their zells. That's XEL Zell, which depending on their color will accumulate temporary firepower, defense, and health boosts for Beck. You're given a percentage upon that absorption, and this is where it kinda lost us. Sometimes seemed like a timing issue, like you need to dash through the second you see the squares. Other times it seemed like it was where on the enemy model you actually hit it, or maybe it was the amount of damage you'd done and you had to memorize how much to shoot each enemy type or shoot them slowly to see that they'd go pixelized. But either the difference is in microseconds or it's just not consistent, as to our naked eye it appeared we were doing the same action and continually getting different results. Although aside from a ranking at the end of the level and perhaps a bit of missed momentary power-up, I'm not sure we missed a whole lot of benefits. One of the key things I loved from the NES Mega Man games was that Mega Man was pretty much the size of a 4-tile. You could easily judge what was going to hit and hurt you. Even Mega Man 7, when it went onto the Super Nintendo era, had that flaw, where not all of your character's sprite or model seems to count. And for games that require intense moments of dodging, hit detection makes all the difference. The original Mega Man games on NES had the concept of an E-Tank, an item found in stages that could be used to replenish Mega Man's life. As we progressed through the game, we had made some comments on how nice it would have been to have those. And it wasn't until the final boss stage that we realized absorbing the enemy Zell actually created this feature, marked by a pyramid with Roman numerals under our life bar. Turns out you can hit the options button and use it to refill your life. Guess what I'm saying is that I know games don't often include an instruction manual these days for cost reasons, whatever, but the trade-off for that should be good in-game tutorials, which we either missed or they just weren't there. Now, Mega Man games would often take you to a 4 or 5 stage area after defeating their 8 bosses. This area is often known as Dr Wily's castle. Mighty No. 9 features a similar scenario, but instead offers 3 final stages, one where you play as Call, and an all of a sudden one-off variation where you collect security cards and fire very slowly. My copy of the game also came with DLC for the Rei expansion, featuring one more level where you square off against Rei, and once you beat her, can play through the game's campaign again with this vampire-like machine. She gets all 100% absorption. Go figure. The stages themselves are pretty standard fare for the 2D shooter, featuring both horizontal and vertical moving stages. One stage in particular had a pretty amazing concept where you're under sniper fire from the mighty number the entire time, and the stage wraps around in a giant circle. You must follow the laser sight and gunfire back to its source where you have to hit him a few times. You do this a total of 4 times, and then you engage in the boss fight. Now, I'm not sure honestly that I've seen anything quite like this before, and as I said, in concept it was pretty neat. In execution, well, a checkpoint would have been favorable, especially with the instant death wires in a couple of the rooms. And if anyone watching this has figured out how to get those health pickups on top of the chandeliers in that stage, please leave a comment below. I'm losing sleep. I'll admit we were a bit disappointed that there weren't heart tanks or new armor upgrades to find a la Mega Man X, but there definitely were more cutscenes. Quite possibly more than Mega Man 1-6 and X 1-3 combined, but I suppose this is the age we live in. Every robot uprising needs a story now. I think we finished the game in close to 5 hours, and aside from a few moments of frustration, we actually enjoyed the game. Again, we came in with pretty minimal expectations, which sometimes can be a big boost to enjoyment. Analyzing it now, though, I'm not sure it really did anything to push the series forward, spiritual successor or not, and I'd probably rather go play Mega Man 1-6 or 9 and 10 again rather than this. But if you've played the Mega Man games to death or want to see a reflection of what the series was, Mighty No. 9 has some cool looking character designs, some fast-paced 2D shooting action, some nimble platforming representing a bit of the old school, with some questionable hit detection, seemingly inconsistent absorption mechanic, no feature tutorial, and overall just kind of a basic level design. Rated as a 2D action platformer, Mighty No. 9 holds a 57 out of 100 with 50 being an average game. This is Jiro for Umbra Games. Thanks for watching. Fan of the old school and the new, please subscribe for more video notifications or follow me on Twitter @Umbra Games.